Hi, this is Sally's Book Talk, bringing you the best global books every day. Today we're exploring the book Discourse on the Method. They say losers make excuses while winners find methods. So what exactly qualifies as a proper method? In 17th century France, philosopher René Descartes documented his methodology in a book titled Discourse on the Method. Unexpectedly, its publication shocked both philosophical and mathematical communities of the time. We must ask, what kind of method could cause such a sensation? Today, let's uncover the secrets behind this methodology with your host, Yinoo. Descartes, the father of modern Western philosophy. How influential was he? The French put his face on postage stamps. 3 titles crown Descartes: father of modern science, father of modern philosophy, and father of analytic geometry. Despite these paternal titles, he remained unmarried throughout his life. At age 52, rumors swirled about his relationship with an 8-year-old Swedish princess. Born in France, Descartes lost his mother at 1-year-old, was raised by his grandmother after his father remarried, and received elite education from a privileged family. Discourse on the Method, written when Descartes was 41, remains one of his most significant works. This shows Descartes was both an extraordinary philosopher and an ordinary human. Understanding Descartes means understanding not just philosophy, but a philosopher's perspective on life. The methodology and principles in Discourse on the Method remain profoundly relevant today. You could read countless modern books on project management or time management, yet still miss Descartes' fundamental methodology. When I first held this book, I was shocked by its brevity. Fewer than 100 pages. But the real surprise came when I opened it and discovered its content. If you haven't read it, you're likely wondering 2 things. First, why did Descartes write this book? Second, what methods does Discourse on the Method actually propose? Another phrase familiar to Chinese people is I think, therefore I am. This statement originates from Descartes' Discourse on the Method. What does this actually mean? Let's take it step by step. Why did Descartes write this book? Descartes lived 500 years ago during the peak of scholastic philosophy. What is scholastic philosophy? Scholasticism was a fusion of ancient Greek philosophy and Christianity. It dominated Western thought for over a millennium, initially using Greek logic to justify Christian doctrines. Gradually, it devolved into abstract debates about impractical matters. In its later stages, scholasticism debated absurd questions like, how many angels can dance on a pinhead? Did Adam have a belly button? Do heavenly roses have thorns? This was too much for our philosopher Descartes to tolerate. Thus, Descartes' first act in Discourse was to challenge scholasticism. He diagnosed society's core problem as blind faith without independent thinking. So who should bear responsibility for these issues? The society then shares similarities with our modern world. Like the defensive argument, If scholasticism is wrong, why don't you do better? Descartes' response. Challenge accepted, as he proposed his own solutions. Before explaining his solutions, let's examine Descartes' theoretical framework. Methodological rationalism characterizes Western intellectual tradition. From Aristotle's Organon to Bacon's Novum Organum, methodology serves as cultural keystone. Descartes believed all disciplines suffered from methodological flaws. After a millennium of Christian dominance, Western thinking defaulted to God-based premises. All research required assuming God as primary premise before methodology. But Descartes championed supreme rationality as methodological foundation. So what exactly is rationality? Today we view rationality as human quality, calm, reasonable, far-sighted. For Descartes, rationality pursued two goals: unity and foundational nature. What does this mean? First, unity means consistent coherence derived from a single principle. Descartes used this analogy. If people build houses randomly on empty land without planning, you get chaotic structures with mismatched colors, sizes, and layouts. But what happens with unified planning? You achieve orderly arrangement, like modern upscale neighborhoods. Results of rational planning. Rational unity requires both external uniformity and internal consistency. Descartes observed widespread contradictions in contemporary scholarship, consequences of irrationality. Second, foundational nature, easier to understand. Seeing essence through phenomena, what rationality seeks. Rationality rejects both blind conformity and superficial understanding. Descartes favored logic, mathematics for their reliability, but discovered flaws. Logic only verifies existing knowledge, like deducing triangle angles from triangles, or yellowness from gold. These properties are inherent. Logic can't generate new knowledge. This refers to Aristotelian deductive logic. Inductive logic emerged after Descartes' time. Mathematics, geometry's flaw, abstract numbers, graphics don't enrich life experience. Why did Descartes write this book? He rejected God-centric research approaches, raising rationalism against scholasticism. What methods did Descartes propose? That's our second question. Descartes outlined 4 fundamental methods. First, never accept anything as true unless clearly recognized. The first method's keyword is clarity. Descartes' fundamental principle and truth criterion. Don't mistake this clarity for superficial visibility. Descartes argues, these are precisely unclear. So what constitutes true clarity? We'll explore this next. Second, divide each problem into manageable parts for systematic resolution. The second method's keyword is decomposition, reflecting Descartes' mathematical expertise. This approach was borrowed from mathematics, what we call divide and conquer. This method dominates natural science research with immense influence. Third, progress from simple to complex systematically. Even unrelated elements receive ordered sieduring. The third method's keyword is order, continuing decomposition through productized resolution. Order matters. Disordered decomposition solves nothing. Like prioritizing tasks by urgency and importance. Descartes specifically emphasized imposing order on unrelated matters. Some life matters have inherent order, others require imposed structure. Like reading novels with clear plot sequences versus philosophical texts. But philosophical texts, especially dense ones, often leave readers confused. Why? Their logical seasoning isn't easily apparent. Descartes' guidance addresses chaotic situations requiring structure. Impose temporary order to uncover inherent patterns. Fourth, conduct exhaustive examination without omission. The fourth method's keyword is thoroughness, essential for objectivity and persuasiveness. But note, Descartes says, as comprehensive as possible, ideally complete, but realistically unattainable. Human cognitive limitations prevent absolute comprehensiveness, but maximal effort remains essential. Descartes' teaching here has dual implications. First, caution against unreflective, self-righteous individuals claiming unprecedented insights. For much remains unknown or imperfectly understood. Second, encourage humble diligence, pursue thoroughness while acknowledging limitations. Thus Descartes, four methods, clarity, decomposition, order, comprehensiveness. These constitute Descartes' framework for clearing obsolete knowledge and acquiring new understanding. He additionally established 3 life principles. Descartes recognized the connection between worldview comprehension and personal cultivation. In modern terms, STEM and humanities shouldn't be separated. This relates to today's science-humanities divide. Contemporary STEM-focused culture wrongly assumes nature study requires minimal humanistic depth. But understanding depth correlates with self-awareness. So what are Descartes' 3 principles? First, obey national laws and social customs. Follow moderate consensus of wise contemporaries in other matters. Meaning, maintain humility and objectivity without rejecting societal foundations. This seemingly conventional advice contains Descartes' wisdom. Descartes reminds us, intellectual revolution requires discretion. Recall, this was Christianity's absolute dominion era. Scholasticism represented both academic and political authority. Descartes, filled with revolutionary ideas, risked persecution if openly expressed. Thus he maintained mental exploration while appearing ordinary. These principles reminded him to blend in. Philosophers must live normally. His goal was to purge all traditional knowledge from education. He doubted everything: social customs, legal systems, even reality itself. As a scholar, this skepticism was permissible, but daily life required conformity, despite philosophical doubts. He questioned even cup's reality. 1 cup becomes 2 when pressing an eye. Is it truly 1 or 2? Endless verification would leave one parched before conclusion. Descartes recognized this impracticality. First principle: intellectual skepticism coexists with social conformity. Don't mistake this duality for hypocrisy. Second, Act decisively once committed. Persist in chosen path even through uncertainty. Modern equivalent. Follow your path despite naysayers. This addressed Descartes' own indecisive nature, valuing action over stagnation. Wrong choices eliminate future errors. Effective remedy for decision paralysis. Third, master self before challenging fate. Modify desires, not world order. This fatalistic principle advocates self-reflection over external control. Accept life's imperfections while striving conscientiously. Today's lesson. Accurate self-positioning prevents endless desire-driven suffering. Recognizing we control only our thoughts brings liberation from worldly entanglements. Descartes admitted. Achieving this requires prolonged training and reflection. This principle conveys a philosophical life realm. As Chinese wisdom says, seek solutions within when facing obstacles. Descartes' three principles: moderation, decisiveness, and self-examination. I think, therefore, I am the book's most famous proposition. Even non-philosophers recognize this iconic phrase, like when scholar L parodied it in sitcom My Own Swordsman. This phrase originated from Descartes' methodological reasoning. Let's retrace Descartes' logical path to this conclusion. His skepticism wasn't nihilistic, but a tool for uncovering truth. Like brushing away dust to reveal bedrock beneath. Through persistent doubt, Descartes made crucial realization. While doubting everything, the act of doubting itself was undeniable. Following his first principle, I doubt equals I think. Therefore, existence. Descartes continued, logical deduction. What constitutes I? Physical presence. Environment? No, these could be illusions, but thought remains essential. Without thinking, no conscious existence. Thus, awareness through thought confirms existence. Hence, the revolutionary proposition, I think, therefore, I am. This became cornerstone of modern philosophy, later proving God's existence. Descartes reasoned. Doubt implies imperfection awareness, which presupposes perfection concept. From this imperfect-perfect dichotomy, he deduced divine existence. If I sense imperfection, where does this concept of perfection originate? Descartes answers. This perfection is God. This forms a syllogism. Major premise. God is perfect. Minor premise. Perfection implies existence. Conclusion. God exists. Descartes believed he'd established fundamental truths, self-existence and divine existence. Next comes proving the world's existence. With these foundations, world's existence becomes logically inevitable. Parts I, B, B discuss physical phenomena, astronomy, biology, and medical science. We'll skip detailed analysis here. Now let's review the book's core content. Why did Descartes write this? First, to counter scholasticism with rational methodology. Second, what methods does it propose? 4 methods: clarity, decomposition, order, comprehensiveness, 3 principles, moderation, decisiveness, self-reflection. What does I think? Therefore I am mean today. Beyond philosophy, what's its contemporary value? Radical doubt as path to certain knowledge. From this foundation, Descartes deduced God's perfection. Historians credit Descartes with inaugurating modern philosophy. He shifted focus from divine principles to human consciousness, first proving human existence, then deriving God and world. Hegel's designation, father of modern philosophy, influencing Kant, Husserl, Heidegger. This concludes our analysis. Find keynotes below. Until tomorrow.